Another boring set of people. Like, let's make some noise here. Like, good evening, everyone. All right, that's more like it. All right, so let's talk about digital twin. So just a quick raise of hands. How many people already know what digital twin is in this forum? Only few people who the faces I know already. All right, so then it's good to go into detail, right? So we are going to focus digital twin towards connected buildings. So digital twin concept can be applied to various concepts, but our focus is going to be on connected buildings, right? So just to introduce myself, I am Shiham Ali, and my friend Antony Fernando, he is my co-worker. So we both will be doing this presentation today. So we work for a very interesting company called Tikri, right? Okay, to start things off, just these are the things which is lined up for today, what the treat you can have today, what's going to go on. So we'll just go through what digital twin is, since most of you all doesn't know what it is about, and the workflow. I just simplified it much as possible so you can digest it easily. And the applications, where in real world you can use these concepts in the real world applications. And we have a demo, interesting demo lined up today as well. So let's dive into it right away, right? So this is the definition of what a digital twin is, right? So digital twin is all about representing a physical asset in a digital world, right? So how you do that is to get real-time data of the physical asset. So when you say physical asset, it could be a human or a building or any asset physically which is available out there, right? So how you represent this is basically bring real-time data of that particular asset, basically the current state, right? So you get the current state of that asset, and where digital twin comes into play is the marriage of where you look at the previous data of what it has done, the particular asset, and you predict what's going to happen in future, and how you can use that information wisely. Right? So that is basically the concept of what a digital twin is. And this particular concept can be applied to many things, right? So, but what we are going to focus today on is only mainly on the building part of it. All right, so I have simplified it as much as possible, right? So you have basically three things. So we all are, familiar with input, processing, and output, right? As software engineers, we are purely on input, processing, and output. So I try to map the structure into the same. So data collection is all about getting data of the physical asset, right? So these days, when you say IoT itself simplifies everything, but I put sensors as well, because there are sensors which you can use, motion sensors and specific sensors for a certain industry. So you can use those, plus IoT is a broad area, wherever you have the sensors plus integrated with Internet of Things and capture the data. So that's where you collect the data, and then you use the technique of the analysis, right? So you use the technique of artificial intelligence, machine learning, data analytics, and simulation. So these are things which you can use to predict. So you use the past records, like whatever has happened before, the past records, and you start predicting how these past records, using these techniques, what could be the future, right? And doing that, so these are the benefits you're gonna get, right? So the benefit is basically you can detect anomalies which can happen in future, right? So whatever things can happen, and you can have a personalized experience. You can look at the past behavior, how the person is right now, and then you can predict how his experience is, and you can make that person's experience much better and be customized to that. And efficient energy management. So you know your past records and where the pain points are, then you can manage things efficiently as well. So let's look at a simple example, right? So I think everyone has gone in a lift, right? So I'm pretty sure, saying there's a revolution, everyone has got into a lift, right? So imagine a situation where a lift has a motion sensor, right, as the input, a motion sensor, and it can tell you how the time difference between each floors, right? And also you can have multiple lifts doing the same thing as well, right? So using that, over time, say, using that motion sensor, the lift can identify the time taken between the lifts is shorter and shorter, or longer and longer, and which would result in a malfunction, right? And that can be learned from one lift to another. And using this digital twin, what you can do is you can basically predict, okay, with the past records of how it has happened before, in future it's going to break, and it can alert the maintenance department saying that, okay, this is going to break in future in this number of times. So this is a pretty simple example on a day-to-day life which we go through. Is it all clear? I hope I'm talking the same language. All right. So people are like, okay, this is not. All right. So let's move on to another simple example. All right. Personalized experience, right? So this is more like fish. Like we are talking about going beyond the trend, right? So this is more futuristic example which I would like to explain. So say you're driving your vehicle into your office premises, right? So you're driving a vehicle into your office premises, and there's a camera which does your facial recognition, automatically recognizes your face, and then it identifies, okay, this is such so and so, this is Shiham from Tikri Corporations. And then what it does is it automatically finds a parking slot for me in the office premises. So we normally find difficult parking, and it alerts on my phone saying, okay, you have a parking slot on row 15, slot number 5, so on. And then I get the alert, so I go park there directly. So meanwhile, I go and park in my office room. The air condition and the lighting is already set for me since I have already come into the office. Right? So this is called the personalized experience. So how you do that is you can do facial recognition, identify at the entrance, and then you can use identifying the employee and employee behavior preferences, how he has been in the past, right? So which temperature which I would like. I like a little hot, my room a little hot, so it will maybe increase the temperature for me. And then the benefit is it indicates like the parking slot and the set up the workspace. So it gives you a very customized experience if you have these particular techniques already implanted in your system. Cool. So second example, good? Right. So it's the rule of 3. So if you're giving something, you give 3, not 1 or 2, right? So this is the third example which I'm giving you, right? So this is the building itself, right? So building itself, what we can do is energy management. This is at another level, right? So energy management, there are already people who is already doing it in commercial products, but this is where we can use the concept of digital twin in energy management. So the data collection points are like facial recognition, motion detection, like depth sensors. So these are the data points which you can take. The example which I wanted to explain here is, say on a floor, for example, today's session, right? So in today's session, you can see the floor density, right? For example, right now. So the density is basically in this particular room and the other 3 rooms, and very less on the lobby area, right? So same way in the building, we can identify density, floor space density, and say, okay, the people are mostly on this particular area. And what it could do is it can actually increase the AC or like reduce the AC to make it more cooler on this area and increase it on the other side of the building. Or even if switch it off if no people are already there, right? So the benefit of doing that is basically you're going to efficiently utilize the resources, right? So you're going to see where people are and identify it, intelligently and try to utilize the consumption very efficiently. And yes, of course, this is what the management mostly likes, like the cost saving part of it, right? So every time you have some kind of efficiency coming into play, there is some kind of saving in return, right? So the saving is the benefit of utilizing this. This is at a building level, right? Floor space management. Of course, there are more things which could be implanted in a office building on this. All right, so let's move on to a small demo, and I hand it over to my friend Antony over here. Let's give a round of applause and welcome him on stage today. All right, Antony, what's up, you? So our technology is in favor of us, so just give us a minute. So meanwhile, is there any questions which I can take regarding the concepts, right? So it's very high level, and of course, this concept can be applied to different, areas, but we have actually focused on the building. So Anthony will explain what we have actually done in our office premises. These are like a live example which is already out there. So we have already have a digital twin implemented in our office premises, which we would, privilege to showcase to you guys as well. So any questions meanwhile I can take up specific to digital twin? Either you totally understood or didn't understand at all. Could be either one of those. Yes. Yeah, so digital twin, the difference is it's more real time. So right now, if I want to get a book a room or something like that, instantly. So AI, of course, it looks at past and the future, but whether it's going to be real time which you're going to use it is one. The next thing is, it's not only AI, so you have to look at the attributes of the particular physical asset, not only one part of it. You have to look at all the attributes. Say, for example, if you take a human, you try to physically take him as a digital twin, you need to look at all his characteristics, not just one part of it. So if you take the full measurement, yes, then it becomes a digital twin. And a digital twin is not only about getting the characteristics, it's about looking at the past and predicting the future. So that all three, the marriages of all three is becoming a digital twin, not just one part of it. Did I answer your question, brother? All right. To you, Anthony.
Thanks, Shiham. Sorry, so it's been one of the mishap of days of technologies where it can go wrong. So how many of you have experience with any home automation or any level of automation in your day-to-day life? Can I take what's your experience with automation?
Mine?
Yes.
Well, actually, things that if I explain about
Sorry.
my personal experience. Okay, if I explain about things that I'm kind of like a technocrat. I have automated my homes like since I think around 2012 and all.
Okay.
Because I can open up my garage door using my phone, and all the lights are connected to my phone. So there are a few switches that are not longer using anymore. Right. And apart from that, when I'm driving in the car, I can talk to the Alexa.
Okay.
And tell it to open the door, so I don't have to take off my hands from my steering wheel.
All right.
Yeah, so that is kind of like experience that I am experienced.
So you have a pretty much a good idea what a digital assistant can be, or how you could digitally automate an entire scope of things, right? All right. So the concept of digital twin, like Shiham explained, is being able to represent any physical asset in the cloud. That's where we are going forward with. And with Tikri, we've designed a digital twin for Tikri, and we call it XE. So a couple of rounds that we've done so far is we've been able to win the bronze medal at the NBQSA Awards, as well as in the Swabhimani as well for smart settlement and urbanization. So one of the concepts that we brought up was during the conception was, what if you could talk to a building? Now you say you speak to Alexa and you're able to control. But what if an individual in a company is able to speak to its building? And you could ask questions as, how long have I been in office, just in case you want to check, if you've been too long in the office or not. Or, you want to book a meeting for you. Personally, Alexa and Siri, and there's so many who can book, but how do you do it in a corporate environment which is able to manage all the meeting rooms in the building and contextually identify you want to make a meeting room right now? So how we've implemented XE in Tikri is we take inputs from attendance systems, leave system, HR system, all of it is pretty much connected to us. And we use IoT devices and sensors in our meeting rooms. along with IoT event hubs, which all of the data is collected through the portal that's based on Azure. And what we do is AI and ML to keep learning on how we keep using our meeting rooms, how much are we, how much of a meeting room are we conducting, whether we are wasting any energy on it, or what specific meeting rooms are no longer required. And how we could connect with XC is we have 3 different ways, which is Alexa, which we would have loved to demo, but due to technical issues, we're not able to demo at the moment. And then once again, we have mobile application, which allows us to connect to the XC application, and as well as we use Skype chatbot as well. So like you would speak to someone over Skype chat, you could type the same command and it's able to give you the same response as someone, as though an individual from HR or someone is able to give you the same response. And the uniqueness about XC is we've done quite a bit of extensive research to find out how far this product is being implemented across other businesses, other companies, and so forth. What we've come across is it's siloed. The solution entirely is siloed, where certain companies would be giving a meeting room solution. Certain company would give how do we control lights and temperature in rooms. But how do we do all of them in one system? That's where XC comes into play, where you could our platform is able to integrate any kind of HR system, real-time data that could be fed through access controls from the doors. It can even identify if an individual is in the building or which floor he is in based on the access control system. And even our meeting rooms are controlled through IoT sensors, where you would walk in and there's motion sensors to identify if an individual is in the building, in the particular meeting room. It would activate the air conditioner for you, set the light correctly, and able to give you. And likewise, we can use Alexa as well. We have a specific program running inside Alexa to be able to say, I want to make a meeting with someone. And you give the command, and it'll ask you exactly as which meeting room of one of the buildings that you would like to see. So XC was built on the premise of 4 main pillars. So if you look at it, it's connectivity and mobility. How do we do in a sustainability manner? Security features that can be added, as well as efficiency. So this is the main 4 pillars that we built XC on. Every feature that we want to add into it, every business solution that we want to add into XC, it needs to come under one of these. So how we've implemented XC and what we've seen returns in so far is, like Shiham explained, how you could find out the exact parking slot when you want to come into a building. Right now we have the same problem because the location that we are in, the office, Tikri office is at Gangarama. As you know, one way is completely blocked. So if you miss the parking slot which is in the front, it takes 15 minutes to go around to come back and find another parking slot. So with the XC application which we implemented, before they come in, they can check which parking slot is available, and they can take the respective car park that they want to go to. And likewise, even booking a meeting room, trying to find which meeting room is available, if an individual is available at the same time, it took close to 5 minutes, for you to people who organize meeting on a regular basis know what a hassle it can be trying to find a meeting room, and especially if you want to organize with a multitude of people. With being able to book a meeting room with XC, we managed to do it in 5 seconds. It's a matter of saying, book a meeting now, this is the room I want to go to. And in terms of sustainability, letting IoT sensors manage the room temperature, lights, and everything. So if someone walks out after a meeting, it gives a rest about 5 minutes. And if it detects there's no motion in the room, the light switches off by itself, as well as the air conditioner. Based on that, if nobody is active in the office after 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock maybe, the lights and air conditioner goes off by itself. So that way, we don't rely on a human interaction for them to do a check. And so based on that, for the past 3 months, we've seen over a 3-month reduction in the energy cost. And in terms of safety and security, we've implemented IoT sensors even in our water tanks, which means we are able to consume how much of water, whether it's available. Resources are main concern. If building of about 120 people, you run out of water, you know what happens. So at any given point of time, any administrating officer or anyone from admin is able to see what's the current water level. And based on the consumption that we've gone through over the weekdays, how it consumed over weekends, XE keeps on studying what it is. And then if there's a sudden drop in the water level, as you know, against the pattern that we have studied so far, it gives an alert for us. Last week, even before, there was 2 instances where there was a leakage, and XE was able to promptly tell us there is an abnormal usage, water usage. You should check it out. So this is how we've actually implemented So using AR, you can find out when you walk through rooms, we have QR codes placed in, and it's able to tell you what's the next meeting that's been lined up and whether you're able to. So likewise, we could demonstrate to you how the motion sensors that we've implemented works for us. So any TICRE employee can use the QR code to download the application, and they could use it for their advantage. Sorry. Display plan. Sorry, this is the IoT sensors. And these are the parking sensors that we use in our building to identify if a slot is available. So we have 2 different car parks, which is in front of the office as well as at different spaces.
Alexa, tell XE to change the temperature in Oslo.
Can you please tell me the temperature you want to set to?
24 degrees.
Do you want me to change the temperature to 24 in Oslo?
Yes.
I have updated the room configuration as you requested. Room will adjust to your requirement within 10 seconds.
This is the Skype chatbot version where you could use the same functions that have already been implemented through applications. You could ask it to do something. All right, so how you can implement XE is pretty much limitless, because it's always learning, and how you want to implement is pretty much what you want to do for your business environment. What we've studied so far is it can be implemented in schools, hospitals, even new commercial buildings that come across, being able to put in a warehousing environment, because it pretty much gives an added platform. It's pretty much a platform right now where you could integrate your current systems and again use the same experience that we get out of TICRE 1. Any questions from you guys after you've seen what XE can do in terms of digital twin? We'd like to get into facial recognition to identify individuals. Like the experience that we want to give is personalized. We want to get rid of access systems and identify if an individual is in the building, which floor, how do we identify that? So right now we're restricted with access cards and all of that. but and that again, once again, goes into identifying how many people are in the flow, or how many people, what the people density in a particular area is. So if using facial recognitions and different mechanisms, if we identify how many people are actually in there, we can control the energy that's consumed, and once again, reduce cost for the company.
Have you analyzed what you've saved?
Yes, so pretty much a full-on implementation has been happened for the last 3 months. With that, with the numbers that we've checked is right around there's about a 3% to 4% reduction in cost when it comes to XE being able to control the rooms and how it controls the entire energy consumption. Any questions from anybody else?
Is there a maintenance part involved as well? Let's say AC went out due to a failure.
Yes.
So you can identify that as well.
Correct. So it's able to tell us when, if something doesn't interact well, in our mobile application, it would indicate that room is being, the sensor in that particular room is not working. That information goes to the admin department who handle the maintenance. And there's a routine maintenance which they do as well to make sure all sensors are working perfectly fine as it should be, and there is no hindrance to it. Anything that you've worked with automation, now you see it in a business environment. What do you say?
Yeah, it's pretty good actually. That, I think there are a lot of questions that coming into my mind.
It's an open conversation.
Always technical questions, deep technical questions. Because one question is that in your Alexa.
Yes.
How did you manage to are you creating Alexa session with an app or Alexa app or that?
It's a service that gets built inside Alexa itself. Yes. So we activate Alexa and then say turn on XE, which is the service for XE by Tikri. And based on when that gets activated, it's pretty much you can keep a conversation going as however you'd feel like to. So it's a service inside Alexa per se.
That is one thing that I need to improve in my house because things that everything is connected to cloud now.
Correct.
To get the service done. So I think there are there might be security vulnerabilities and all that.
Yeah. It's one of the issues that we look at. So that's why we don't directly connect this thing. We have an inbuilt service inside Alexa itself to do certain of the function that's related to business entities. Anything else? Good. All right. Thanks for attending the session, guys. Hope you had a good time the whole day. This is the last. So there's a tea outside for y'all for refreshments, and then which we'll be following with the closing note for them. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.